So I got an interesting camera hack that I want to show you guys today. So this is the Banggood micro camera, 600 TVL CMOS, very small, but it has 120-degree field of view, which is a little bit wider than I like for flying my mini quads close to the ground. Everything seems to be kind of far away, and I seem to be running into things. Now you can get a replacement lens here that screws in. That's for an 808 camera that will reduce the field of view to about 90 degrees. That is about $11 or $12 just for the lens, and this camera is only like $8 or $9, so it's probably not worth it to do that. There also is the 90-degree camera from Diatone USA, which is about, I think it's about $15. So if you wanted to get that camera, obviously that would be a good idea to get that from the start. However, I have a bunch of these cameras and I can't return them, and I'd like to convert these into something with a smaller field of view. And so it's possible if you get a lens for a 1/3 inch sensor. So the sensor that's on this camera is a 1/4 inch sensor, and so this lens is made for the 1/4 inch sensor. Now, if you get a lens for what I have here is a GoPro, I think it's a GoPro Hero right here. This is from a GoPro Hero HD. I think it's from Hero 1. And this one is designed to focus onto a 1/3 inch sensor. And it has this thread that's a M12 thread versus this other one's a much smaller thread. So obviously this won't fit on here. But if you can get this lens to focus onto this sensor, then it effectively, because it's made for this lens is made for a 1/3 inch sensor, it's focusing on a 1/4 inch sensor. The field of view is actually effectively reduced down to about 90 degrees. So the other thing that we need to make sure of is that the lens has an IR block on here. So I'm kind of showing you the back of the lens here, and it has sort of this sort of red purple sheen to it. That's a coating that's on the back of this lens here that we'll also need, otherwise the color reproduction will be way off. So let me show you how we get these two together. What you need is an old camera that's broken. So here's one that doesn't work anymore, and you need this lens housing here that has the threading for this lens here. And these, you can get these for like $1 from Surveil Zone, and I'll put links to all this stuff in the description as always. But if you don't have any of these lying around, they're like $1. But yeah, if you're like a lot of mini quad flyers, you probably have a lot of these broken cameras are all over the place, and these housings are what you need. So you just unscrew this broken, unscrew the lens here, and then you unscrew the housing off the back of here. And then you're left with the actual lens housing here like this. Now you want to take the camera, the micro camera, you want to pop off the lens housing and the lens that comes attached to the sensor. It's just on there with friction, so it's pretty easy to just pop off. Just pull on it. You want to be careful. You don't want to damage the sensor. That's the sensor right there. And what you'll notice off the bat here is that this housing is a lot larger than this sensor here. So let me see if I can get that to line up. There's going to be a small gap all around of approximately about 1 millimeter. So what we need to do is we need to use a little hot glue to get this sensor here inside the housing, and of course I want it to be straight and level, so I'm going to show you guys how to do that. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to bend up this microphone so it's out of the way, and just gently bend it up so it's at a 90-degree angle. Like that. That way it won't prevent the sensor from sitting level to the housing here like this. It's going to go in like that then. Okay, so I soldered on my wires here back onto the sensor. Ran some hot glue along that bottom edge, and then I just set this down and then held it on until it stayed in place. So now you can clearly see that there's a gap there that needs to be filled in, and we'll be filling that in with some hot glue. See that right there. The other side. You want to make sure that the sensor is level, or as close as possible to the housing. And we'll go ahead and I'll run some hot glue into these edges here. And you can see on the other side, see that there's a sensor right there. So now the edges are filled in. So this should hold in place very nicely. And if you make a mistake, if it's not even or it's crooked, a little bit of denatured alcohol will pull this apart easily. But this should hold that in just fine. You can see that there's a little bit of light leakage there, so I'm not sure if that's going to cause any problems. We'll see here. I'm going to go ahead and put the lens on. So now you want to take your lens and just go ahead and screw that in. So then we'll have to go ahead and hook this up to our FPV monitor and set the focus on this, because I'm not sure where it is going to be. We'll take a look at what that looks like here in a second. Okay, so I got the camera focused on that focus pattern over there on the wall. I have it connected up to, wired into my FPV DVR, my monitor right here. And there's the image. And it looks like the field of view is about 90 to 95 degrees. It's hard to totally judge just by looking, but it's definitely a lot narrower than it used to be. So not sure what there's a little bit of a pink hue to the image. It's not too bad, but I hadn't noticed that before, but the image looks fairly sharp. And so we'll have to do some test flights and see what it looks like when we're actually using it as a board camera. Anyway, so that's how you hack this camera. It's pretty easy to do. Just got to find this type of lens. I'll put a link. I got it on eBay. It was like $2. But there's a lot of lenses like this that you can use. It's an M12 threaded lens, and you just have to have the IR block on the back of the lens. So I hope you guys found this hack helpful. If you have a lot of these Banggood cameras that are too wide a field of view, this is the one way that you can change the camera to a narrower field of view. And if you've got some broken cameras and some lenses lying around, it's not that hard. Anyway, I hope you guys liked this video, and I'll talk to you guys later. Okay, here's just an addendum to the end of that video. I was looking at the light leakage that's coming through the hot glue here, and it's a little bit opaque, so I've noticed that when I cover it up with my finger, that pink hue goes away and the picture is a lot sharper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this liquid electrical tape and cover up all the hot glue here on the edges to make the edges dark so that the light doesn't come through. So that should probably clear up the problem. Anyway, if you guys do this hack, you probably should do that as well. Just get some liquid electrical tape, turn that nice and black, and you shouldn't have any light leakage problems. Okay, hey guys, so here it is completed, and I went ahead and put the liquid electrical tape on the back here, and cut out all the light leakage, so there was no issues with the image now. And I'll put a sample of the video up in a second here. So it looks like this is a camera mount from Diatone. I'll put a link to that in the description too. That fits most of these lens modules. And then I just have the audio cable hanging off separate here from the video and power.